looks like. Sorry, I'm a third grade school teacher. It's like a rectangle that's sideways and it's got aging. He said, age is an issue of mind over matter. If you don't mind, it doesn't matter. Okay, here we go. We're off and we've got a nice tidy group and no, but there's a rock there. It's just a rock and it's small. Yeah. Here called the wash ashore, so I think it's safe to say everybody here is a wash ashore.
Okay. We're safe to say that.
Fellow that lived in Edgartown, he ran the lighthouse actually. Recently converted to the Methodist
Native
faith.
Island, so it stayed. It's here, and so that's and.
Walking back there to see someone sitting on their porch and just ask about their cottage. They love to visit about their cottages in there. It's kind of a lost art in America, talking to strangers from your front porch. It's alive and well here, though. All over the island, people are real friendly. So there's no reason to be shy here. That line is the ocean above the trees and then the sky. And on a clear day, this is just an exceptional thing. Because it looks like a hill of water past the trees. It looks like a mountain of water back there. So it's an illusion, and it's really beautiful and striking. But it's still beautiful. You got the mirrored pond here and the fields and stuff. But you can actually see some waves down there. Not in the distance, but the flags and binoculars. And the Navy would use it in the days. So they said you could start a message here at the southernmost telegraph hill, and that message could travel 75 miles to Boston in 10 minutes on a clear day. There's a street here to the left called Music Street. In the days of the whaling captains, this is a long street full of homes with pianos, and you'd walk down the street in the evening and you knew who was home when the kids were practicing. So they renamed the street Music.
as you age, but more like yourself. True. Didn't you have friends who had these peculiarities, you know? They wouldn't eat before 5 o'clock, or they wouldn't like peas in their Chinese food, and you become more like the character that you are, which is not better or worse. And today is our Nature Day. This comes along the shore of New England, called Rosa ragusa, runs wild. The rose blooms in the spring, and you have rose hips for red zinger tea, celestial seasonings, right? And the plum, the little beach plums, they make jelly and jam out of. A lot of vitamin C and, you know, good healthy things. Sour as get out, but they put a lot of sugar in it if you want to buy the either Maine blueberry jam or
I'm a museum educator here, and most of my time is spent hosting school children on field trips.
He got the job because he was brilliant at science and he didn't mind being there. And he took the job, and like 6 months later he said, I love this job, but I can't stand it anymore because it's so lonely. What can I do? So his friend said, well, put an ad in the paper. So he did, and this is what it said. Spouse wanted for a bit of cooking, companionship, and some light housekeeping.
Having fun yet?
Down from the southeast corner of Massachusetts, which is like a sideways rectangle. This particular peninsula is called Cape Cod. Hyannis is in Barnstable County, and sometimes it's referred to as that. It's named after Iano, who's the sachem or the head of the Cumaquid tribe, and it's called the capital of Cape Cod. So ever since the Pilgrims landed in 1620, Governor Bradford's diary has told us about the existence of this place. Of course, the Wampanoag Indians were here tens of thousands of years before we ever arrived. But Cape Cod today is a favorite resort area, really since the development of the automobile. But the Cape really has managed to preserve its natural beauty and its seafaring charm of sorts. There's acres of low-lying bogs of cranberries. We did say we were number 2 to Wisconsin, boo-hoo. But we have salt marshes and pine scrub oak forests and dozens of lakes and ponds. And everywhere you look, even tomorrow in Nantucket, there's nothing but gray shingled homes and businesses. The people learn very soon that because of the winters here, who wants to paint their house every year when you can put these pine or cedar shingled sidings on, and you know it's 15 to 20 years before you really need to replace them.
Graveyard of the Cape. It is because there was no Cape Cod Canal. It's a very dangerous place to sail because it's all shoals. It's all shallow out there, and the shoals shift, so you can't chart them. They just move around.
That's a duck hunting boat. That boat was designed for duck hunting. It's very shallow. You can sail it or you can row it out into the water.
So you have the mast and the sails and the rigging and everything?
Yeah, there's the sails, the mast, and
Looks like new sails.
well, it's the funny thing is that the boat was never finished.
Okay, take a look at this house architecturally. This is the Hoxie house, and it's in the shape of a salt box. The back just slopes completely down on one side, and it's like those boxes that they hung around your neck and dispensed salt from. They didn't have shakers in those days, and they didn't use sugar, raw sugar either. They used molasses a lot more. So that's a salt box house, if you've ever
that we
seen
don't have
one.
about these
Interesting.
unusual fish. As we grew, as a whale biologist, because they call me krill, because I'm a shrimp, got it? Okay? So, as a whale biologist, we still do a lot of marine mammal work, can't say no, and because if you're going to save the planet...
So they have specifically what they call in architectural style the Cape Cod house. And generally speaking, it's 2 windows and with a door, and it's kind of broad in the front of it.
Now, Nantucket doesn't have all that many natural resources, so a lot of the ways that the Wampanoag people were surviving here were through trade networks with people on what are now Martha's Vineyard and the mainland. And they were also likely not staying in one place year-round. Even after Nantucket became an island, they would probably be moving seasonally, so closer to the water in the summer, and closer to the middle of the island in the winter. A lot of the food that was available here was sea life, so shellfish and saltwater fish, and migratory birds and waterfowl. Other than that, there was not a lot here.
natural harbor here with a lot of recreational boating, commercial fishery, and it's probably second in size to Provincetown. We're entering Dennis if you're looking at your map. But right now, lobster is the king of shellfish. And when Asian people come into Boston, they want two things that they cannot find back home. They want Maine lobster and Timberland boots. And you would think that a peninsula that's surrounded by salt air would never get snow. But once in a while, it just surprises you on the weather report. They get smacked with,
We are currently departing from Nantucket Harbor. This is a man-made harbor like all of those in Harwichport, and it was originally built and open to the public.
Approximately 14 acres, and they're experts at hosting weddings. Those are double-crested cormorants that are lifting off from the water. They can dive down to about 40 feet.
This area actually was a giant marsh before it was converted into a harbor, and if you look off the port side on the left over there, you can still see some of these marshlands just about to go underwater as the tide comes up. But that's what this whole area used to look like before they dug it out.
I'm Chase, like the bank, without the money. Blown off course. Figured, well, we were going to colonize Virginia. Let's just see what this is all about. Now, when they arrived here, it did not look like this. This would have been hardwood forest. From shore to shore, nothing but trees. Now, only about a foot of topsoil, so it was not enough for farming. But while they were here, they were hungry, they were thirsty, they couldn't find water. They found the winter storage of corn that would have sustained the Wampanoag people through the winter, which they promptly stole. And then they shot at those people. So had they been nicer, I'm sure they would have been told where the water is, because it is literally below us in the form of an aquifer. So the scientists, the people in the know tell us that the first plant life to establish itself here was reindeer lichen. And that is reindeer lichen. That light green puffs of stuff you see there, that would be reindeer lichen. An edible plant, by the way, high in carbohydrate. Now this, we call this the fist of Cape Cod. Cape Cod's shaped like an arm flexing. You may or may not know. So this portion is the fist, and there's the pointy finger. That's Long Point. This is Pilgrim Lake, so we're right about in here. Now this all formed post-glacier. So 50,000 years ago, we had the Laurentide ice sheet covered most of North America. That ice sheet came to the Truro Headlands right here before Pilgrim Lake, and this would have been dry land.
I think no matter what we did this week, it went well because of the people that were involved. We left Boston Airport, headed down to Woods Hole, and went through Plymouth for the first time. I found out the statues were all in some park somewhere.
Rhodes Scholars, we went on a junket to the Cape, MV, and Nantucket. We learned history on our walks and whales from our talks.
There was an old group in Nantucket who had saved all their coins in a bucket for some Rhodes Scholar fun, but they froze off their buns. So don't forget hats, gloves, and jumps.
There once was a tour group that started as strangers, excited for the events, willing to accept the dangers. Some had plenty to drink, but no one ended up in the clink.
Roses are red, violets are blue. I love Nantucket and Martha's Vineyard too.
If you thought about marrying a captain, let me share my thoughts on this napkin. Learn front and back are simply the stern and the bow. I know that it's true, I just don't know how.
On the ferry over to Nantucket, I lost track of my barf bucket. I looked high and low, but still no show. So I hurled on the deck and said,
There was a woman named Margarita. She was a very lovely señorita. She traveled to Nantucket with a woman that said,
oh.
And now instead of tea, it's a jumbo margarita.
There once was a group from Rhodes Scholars whose trips cost way over $1. They went to Nantucket, the Cape, and the Vineyard, and that's where poor Linda got injured.
There once was a girl from Ontario shore who traveled east to learn the Cape's lore. Some thought her a prude, as she never was crude, but her dream was to bed the man who played Thor. The bear went over the mountain, the bear went over the mountain, the bear went over the mountain to see what he would see.
Okay, number 2. Yeah, I love it. Name 2 of the 3 islands off Cape Cod. What town is at the end of Cape Cod? What fish was the most plentiful on the Cape and the mainstay of the economy? Number 7, where is one of the oldest carousels in the United States? I shall be telling this with a sigh. Somewhere ages and ages That's a first. Okay, number one, here we go, easy peasy. This one's dedicated to Miss Kathy. What color is New England clam chowder?